Okay, next after a brush tool, the next tool is a pencil tool, right? So in this category, all the shortcuts are B only, right? But we have to use Shift B for within the same name. If you have the tool, other tool, so use Shift and B, right? So pencil tool. Pencil tool, what we do? This also will work like a brush, but it paints hard edged brush strokes, right? Hard edged. Suppose here, if you see this, here we have a soft round, okay, and add the brush stroke, okay. So here it is adding hard edged, not a soft edged, right? So with pencil tool, simply we draw hard edged strokes. In the same way here, we have settings, spacing is there. Just by giving the space, you are adding some dots like some petals like, right? So see, these are very nice, right? And here the settings are there. So if you choose this angle, so your pencil tool also are turning into that shape, right? So these are all settings, okay. So actually in the digital painting time, I'll clearly in depth I'll explain about brushes and the brush shapes and dynamics, scattering, texture and all. It is the big topic. So definitely I'll explain for the digital painting. The special classes there, right, to cover in depth a brush. Okay. The next, this is a color replacement tool. So with this, what we do, the color replacement tool, for that I have to open any file, new file, okay. Yeah, this is my image, and on that I'm using color replacement. Actually, how it works, the same B shortcut paints the selected color over an existing color, right? Suppose this is your existing color, the skin tone. On that, this is your foreground color, so use this color. See, this is, and if you want, you can change this to red. Now see, this is okay. Yes, that too, it depends on the mode, which mode you are taking, right? Suppose in default it is in color, and change this to hue. See, bit of light red, right? And change this to saturation. Saturation has more the bright red, giving some a more actually brightness. Saturation, it has big saturation, right? Color we used already, and luminously. So this is almost is giving some kind of muddy color, right? So keep this mode into color always if you want to get the good result, right? Keep this as it is. And you check here. Here we have sampling continuous. This is the sampling continuous, and this is a sampling once. If you take one sample color, first I use control chat, okay, I remove this one. So the difference between this and this, if you take the sampling continuous, it continues the same color. Suppose here it is continuously applying, but if you choose this one, sampling once, if you take once this color, right, it's only applying on that, right? So not on other color, because here in skin tone we have light white tones also there, here the highlights like, right? So the same level of intensity whiteness if you find in other areas, there only it is covering or applying. It is sampling once, right? And the next one is sampling a background swatch. So the background swatch, so suppose you have to check these modes, discontinuous, okay. It depends on the modes and the limits, it works. So find edges and try to change this tolerance also. When you choose the tolerance value, it applies. Okay, now see. Okay, so depends on the modes and limits, this is applying. And the tolerance is very important. Always keep this tolerance uh, in 50 to 60% between, right? It works well. Okay, and then these are what, if you connect with the vacuum, so then only it works, right? Otherwise it won't work. Next, come to this one, mixer brush tool. So with the mixer brush tool, what we do with the mixer brush tool, so I'm playing control chat. Okay, the same shortcut simulates real painting techniques such as blending colors and varying paint wetness, right? When you work with paintings, digital paintings, this brush is very useful, right? It has some options, the brushes are there. I'll cover clearly about brushes in digital painting, right? So these are the brushes I downloaded myself, right? Actually in default won't get these many brushes, right? In Photoshop in default a few brushes only will get. So after that, it depends on your requirement, we have to download, or otherwise we can create ourselves our own brush, right? That I'll explain deeply in the coming classes, right? In the digital painting class. Okay, and this is the size, right? The hardness we are adding, decreasing or adding. So by using the right bracket and keyboard, we get big and small brush. Okay, now if you see here, these are again the settings same side like a brush settings. And here see the colors, load solid colors only, here it is, and load brush. So brush is added here, see brush is added, and after that clean brush. Now you cleaned your brush, right? And then here it is, load the brush after each stroke. After giving the each stroke, load the brush. Okay, and this is what clean the brush after each stroke. Okay, clean the brush after each stroke. And here we have options, custom and dry. So what are these? Dry light load, dry heavy load, moist light mix, moist heavy mix, wet wet light mix, a wet heavy mix, very wet light mix, very wet heavy mix. So these are what how much the water quantity you are mixing, right? So that can be the result. Sometimes in a normal paintings we use a more water quantity. We dip into we dip our brush into a water, though your brush can take more water load and it applies. The result also will be the same. They lose paint it creates. Sometimes the dry brush. So dry brush means with the dry brush, okay, we use just tip of the color. We dip the tip of the color and we apply on the paper. So it gives the dryness, right? Though the same way here in digital brushes also here they work. Suppose here the dryness brush we are using. So dryness, CTC very dry. It is not mixing at all. Here it is not mixing. The dryness it is showing. A dry light load. So when you apply dry light load, also giving the same, right? And again here dry heavy load. So dry heavy load, see it is. And the moist means some bit the moistness it is using. When you use yourself, then only you feel the actual sense, right? So moist heavy mixer. So here we are using the heavy mixer. See here it is the heavy mix here we are using, right? And the wetness, we are adding the wetness, right? And if you want, you can change the color also. So sometimes if you use the same brush, you feel more, right? So you can change the brush. Wet heavy mix, right? So same heavy mix it has, and here very wet, very, so you can use these things, then you will understand, right? These are all very useful for the digital painting artist, right? Okay, and then the wetness level, how much you want, 100% or 50%. So depends on the level and number you are taking. So this depends. Okay, okay. In the same way, load, brush loading, so 100% load or otherwise very less load. See, so very less load, depends on your requirement. In default, keep this in 50%, and mixing the how much, the percentage, the number you want to mix, right? So it is 100%, otherwise it is low or medium, the 50%, right? And the flow of the color, suppose I'm not using the flow here, so my flow is almost a 1, so it is not giving that color, so I'm giving the 50% almost, so it is giving the same, and try to keep this 100%. And this is what the smoothness, suppose here the brush smoothness, actually the set smoothing for the stroke, right? So keep this in default 50%, or otherwise use this one to 100%, it depends on the result, right? And that angle, the brush angle, right? And this works with a vacuum pad, right? So for the digital painting purpose, we use the vacuum pad. So in the digital painting time, I'll cover all these things, right? Okay, then come to, in this group we covered all these brushes. Let's come to other tool, right? So let us change the pick. I'll take another one, open. Yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah, this is okay. What next here? Clone stamp tool. We are creating the clones, right? Clone means a duplicates, like, right? Clone stamp tool, how it works? Paints with pixels from another part of the image, right? Another part of the image. Suppose if you try painting on this here, see, it won't work. Could not use the clone stamp because the area to clone has not been defined. So how to define? By pressing Alt click to define a source point, right? Okay, so how to use this? By pressing the Alt on keyboard, see, changing the brush into this shape, right? So keep pressing an Alt on keyboard, and now take the source from top or bottom, from anywhere. So here from bottom at foot area, just I'm taking the some source, and release your Alt button and try to drag, move your wrist left click, and it is creating, so cloning another image, right? So this is the clone, nicely created, right? And the clone also, it depends on the modes. Again, it is in normal mode. Suppose you take this in a multiply and use Alt here, and again I'm using this. See, it has some difference, right? Because we use the multiply mode, and you can check with other modes. Suppose the boxes are there. Within these boxes, all the modes can work the same, right? So within this group, suppose multiply and darken and curl blend works naturally the same, right? Yeah, the same. And instead of this, I use a lighten. For the lighten also, take a clone here and use here. See, it is because it is very lighten, even it is not giving any clone. So yeah, it is very light, so very light it is giving. So instead of that, I'll use the overlay. So again, use Alt and take this, and you can apply here, right? And this is overlay, and then soft light, overlay, soft light, these are be the same, and the difference I use by pressing Alt, keep this here and use this one. See, difference is look like it is some kind of a negative film. The result how it is creating the negative of film look like, right? So basically what we are creating all the clones, right? And the same way here the opacity is there and the flow and the settings are there, right? You can by using less opacity you'll get the less amount of color you will apply, right? So for default I'm not changing anything, but here keep this into normal, right? Okay, it is. Then what we do here, there is another tool is there within this. The shortcut is S for the clone stamp tool, and for the pattern stamp also S, but we have to use shift S, right? So click on the pattern stamp tool, right? So what we do here, we are creating the patterns. So actually what is this pattern? So here in default some other pattern is there, okay? So if you don't want, just you can remove the patterns by delete this pattern, right? Deleted it. And here we have other patterns, default patterns are there. So click here and I'm using this pattern, right? And that too we have to find the multiply. So instead of multiply, use this normal mode. Now you'll get the same color, so right, same color we are using. So as Disney, because it has normal. And suppose overlay, so by using this overlay, and the difference, suppose the difference is just like again negative film, right? It is giving, and these are all patterns, right? So the default patterns are there, grass and these patterns. If you want, you can create our own patterns also, right? So there is a special class and creating patterns is an in-depth subject. Okay, for timing we are checking all the tools only right now, right? So what are the tools, available tools in Photoshop latest, we are discussing and we are verifying all the tools. But each and tool, there is a special class and particular pattern stamp tool and digital painting time, the brush tool, right? We cover all those things, right? No need to worry. Okay, first let us check all the tools only. Okay, good. Next, other tool, history brush tool, right? Y shortcut, and there is a art history brush tool. This also have the same name Y, but use shift to Y. Okay, history brush tool, how it works? See, this is really a wonderful tool. Suppose show the cursor there. What it is telling? History brush tool restores parts of an image to an earlier stage, right? Suppose this image, when you open the Photoshop, it has only one model standing here, right? So all we created here, get back into a normal position, then use this tool, right? So this is called what? History brush tool. With history brush tool, just you can apply on the image, so it is removing your created portions and only it is keeping your original one, right? So this is really very good tool to help us, right? Yes, fantastic. Now your image is getting back into normal, right? Okay, then art history brush tool. The art history brush tool, how it works? Paints stylized strokes with pixels from earlier state of the image. So earlier state of the image, right? It works, paint stylized strokes. Stylized strokes means what? Stylized strokes means, if you observe in the options bar, there are options. These are common, opacity and brushes and modes and the area, these are all. But here the new thing is there, this is called style. So in style, find other styles. Tight sharp it is. So by pressing on this, see very closely, tight sharp. It is kind of the pixels it is creating, right? Paint stylized pixels. See, stylized pixels, and change this into tight medium So the medium, right? It has, and this is tight long, long. So distortion levels it is increasing. It has, right, loose long, so loose long, and what is this dab? So this is kind of one stylized stroke. The tight curl, the curlness, right? It is filling, curling, and this is tight curl long, tight curl long. This is nice, right? Okay. Loose curl, loose curl. This is nice, and this is loose curl long, loose curl long. This is nice. So what is the use of this? Simple. So sometimes if you want to create new things by using any pick, if you want to create a nice strokes with the pixels from the image, you can use this, right? And use this as a background or whatever the pattern or textures, right? Okay, now we have to get back this into a normal. So which tool we have to use? History brush tool, right? History brush tool, actually, if you increase the brush size, you'll get back everything, right, easily, because we use the big brush tool. Within seconds we are recreating to original one. Fantastic, this is, right? And the next one, we have eraser tool. In eraser tool, three type of erasers are there, right? The shortcut is E, but don't forget, use Shift E. Eraser tool, background eraser tool, and magic eraser tool we have. With eraser tool, normally we erase, just changes pixels to the background color or makes them transparent, right? So increase the size, eraser tool. So how to increase? By pressing right bracket, so erase this one, but try to give the hard brush, right? So this is what you are doing. Actually, you are erasing pixels, right? So this is very easy to understand, right? And again, it's smoothing levels and pressure sensitivity and opacity are there. It is as usually how you used it previously, same like, right? And here the background eraser tool and eraser tool. First I'll explain magic eraser tool. So how it works? Magic eraser, just like magic, erases similarly colored areas with a single click. Similar colored areas means, suppose the background here it has some color and here some color. So by pressing here, the similar portions only it is removing, right? The step by step, very clearly, right? Removing. And here this is and this is, because the colors, there are variations are there in that, right? So Control Z, use Control Z, okay. Magic eraser, very easily the similar colors it finds and removes. I wanted the background eraser. It is very good tool, right? Important tool. Erases the pixels of a sampled color, right? So for this I want the new pick. Okay, so select, file, open, and find something like any pick. Yeah, not this one. For some examples, you want particular pick, then you'll understand more clearly. Okay, I'll take another pick for my reference images. Yeah, I use this image. Yeah, this is this and this. Yes, Control C, and here come here. Yeah, Control V. Okay, and then I'll use this. Yes, open and come to there and find these images. Yeah, this is and this is. I'll take this one, right? So open. Now find this one. Observe this photograph. Loose hair, right? Within the hair there is a white background, right? You have to remove that background. It is really tough, right? So yeah, close up of this. It has white gaps. Very nicely we have to remove that, but it is highly impossible with other tools. With other tools, really tough, right? So this time we use background erase tool. How it works actually? Background erase tool erases the pixels of a sampled color. So sample color means what? Yeah, here we have some options: sampling continuous, sampling once, and sampling background swatches, and limits are discontinuous, contiguous, find edges, and the tolerance value, right? So what are those? I'll explain. Suppose here we have sampling continuous. So take any color, suppose decrease this brush size by using this optional bar, or press on keyboard left arrow and right arrow, decrease to increase, right? So sampling continuous, right? So press this here, it continues the sample color without breaking that. It is removing almost like a normal brush, right? It is sampling continuous, and here we have sampling once. So that means one sample color, after taking one sample color without releasing your left mouse, continuously draw on the object, but it removes only the first sample color, right? Not other color. See, I'm pressing on white background, right? White background, click here, and without releasing your mouse, come on to hair bar. It is not touching the hair except that white, because we took white as a sample color, right? See, it is not touching the hair. See, if you observe here, yeah, I'll do one thing. I'll add one background color in the bottom of the image, then we understand clearly. Yeah. See here, very beautifully, very nicely it is working. That too, it depends on the tolerance value. Suppose if I increase the tolerance value to almost 100%, how it works? See, tolerance value I'm using. So click on the white color, sampling once, and come on to a hair portion. So if you observe, and temporarily switch on this visibility, and now see, if you observe, in hair, okay, there are white highlights are there because light is falling on the hair, right? So these are the highlights. Those highlights also removing because it is choosing as a white color, because the sample color is white. That's why in hair it is finding some white, because your tolerance is 100% we are using, right? So what will happen if I decrease tolerance very less? Now I'm using the same sample color white, okay, and click on the left mouse without releasing that, come on to this. Even see, you are using on that, but see, it is not removing properly because it is not understanding. There is no pure white, because on the white background we took the sample color. It's not finding that much the full whiteness, because we use tolerance 9. So what we are understanding, not less or not more. So use tolerance value between 50 to 60. It works more naturally, right? Okay. And then increase the brush size here, and I'm using this tool nicely, and remove it, right? Because already we used this one. I'm using Control Z. Yeah, Control Z. Yes. Now use this one. Okay. So we are removing. So, yes. Beautiful. But don't release the mouse. Don't release the mouse. And it is only removing the background white, and don't come on to picture also. Yeah, you have a doubt what will happen if I click on the pick. Okay, see, I am applying the same brush on skin, so then we'll understand. The sample color is the skin tone. Click on the left click, and without releasing, so you apply. So these are removing. The skin color is removing, but some areas red is there. It is not touching the red. And come to hair. This area is in black, the brown, dark brown. It is not touching that area. And here some areas on hair, this portion is removed, because in the skin tone we have light white portions are there, light pigment, right? The same pigment, light color, also there on hair, that is highlights. So there also the percent of the whiteness it is removing. So that's it. So again we use on a dress green. Click on this sample color, and it is removing only that color and come onto skin when it is not touching, right? Because the sample color is not skin here. The first sample color is green, right? So it is removing only green. You know, see here it is, the darkness is the same darkness, it is removing, but here it is not removing. Here see, because the sample color is not blue. Okay, so what we are understanding, so it depends on the sample color, which sample color you are using, right? So very important, right? Then sampling a background swatch. So background swatches, suppose this is the background swatches, and increase and decrease the tolerance value, then we'll understand. See, this is the background swatches, it is removing. And suppose if you use this into a very less, and even it is not taking, right? So generally this is mostly we don't use. So this will work, right? So sampling, which sample color if you take, so that sample color it removes, right? And limits must be in discontinuous, right? Okay, tolerance value must be 50 to 60%. Okay, yeah, keep this in. Okay, so these are the tools I explained today. Okay, so eraser tool and background is up to magic eraser tool, right? So keep practicing yourself, then you will understand other tools. I'll explain in the next class. Okay, so thank you.